Good afternoon. You're here with Chris and Goran for another European football. We are here to talk about the World Cup. Chris, as you can imagine, I'm highly disappointed after Croatia lost to Argentina just an hour ago or so. It wasn't a performance on the level that we are used to seeing from Croatia at this World Cup, but nonetheless, I think they had a fantastic tournament, and after all, they still have a chance to win a medal here.
Yeah, it was simply a case of just Argentina, breaking through and then just going on the front foot. Once they got the first taste of goal, you know, it was sort of, you know, onwards and upwards for Argentina at that point. I mean, I will say, Croatia was doing a good job keeping Argentina out for the first half hour, and then sort of you had that penalty
Yeah.
sort of derail everything, and then it was kind of all on the wheels fell off the cart after that.
Yeah, they started really, really well. They were controlling the game flow, had the possession, had everything. And then, I don't know, those small, tiny things that kind of separate great players from good players, or maybe big teams from small teams, or I don't know, however you want to call it. That's what pretty much decided this game. I won't go into details whether it was a penalty or it wasn't a penalty. Can't really be objective about that. I'm a bit stunned that it wasn't even checked by the VAR, to be honest. But like I said, there's nothing we can do to change it now. I'm more hurt about that second goal, Chris, that Argentina scored when Alvarez had a run from basically the midfield all the way to the goal and scored that goal. He was amongst three players. Nobody could have taken the ball away from him. He got an immense amount of luck in that play. The ball bounced back into his feet, and that's the one that hurts the most, to be honest, Chris.
Yeah, I mean the penalty. It is what it is. Unfortunately, like you said, it's objective, and like you said, it is sort of those details that separate the good teams from the great teams, or the good players from the great players. And you know, I get what you mean, where the second goal stung a little bit more, but for me, that's what Croatia could have controlled. I understand that there was a heavy amount of luck involved in terms of just the ball bouncing towards his feet, and Croatia really not being able to deal with it in kind. But again, those are the kinds of stops you have to make. Um, Other than that, I hate to sound blunt about it, but it's just at that point that you got no one else to blame. The football gods weren't on your side, and that's on their side. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You got to sometimes create your own breaks, create your own luck, and unfortunately, Croatia wasn't able to do that today.
Yeah, you know what? We had that corner kick before the Argentina second goal, and you have three players involved in that corner kick. I don't know why. What was the reason for that? When you have your entire defense waiting for that cross in to jump and give a header or whatever, and then that cross got blocked, counter attack, and that was it pretty much. Might have been a little bit different if Brozovic didn't have to go out at the start of the second half. But you know what? I was kind of reading and watching some of the comments post interviews and stuff like that, and that they were missing that clean center forward. And I'm thinking, well, you had him on the bench the whole time. That's what I was talking about yesterday, if you remember, Chris. I was thinking that Kramaric is going to be on that right hand side on the flank, and that Petkovic will be in the starting lineup here, which I was fully expecting, to be honest. And he is that number 9 center forward, tall, strong guy that can hold the ball in his feet, and that can kind of distribute it forward or whatever. When he got into the game in the second half, I believe that Croatia became even more dangerous. They had, I'm not going to say a lot of chances, they had more chances than they did in the first half. The only problem was that morale at that point, when you're down 2-0, was kind of low, and basically there was, I don't know, just it felt to me like they were playing with basically like 60-70% or whatever. And I think it was game over in the second half, probably around 55th minute or so.
Yeah, I think as the second half kind of drove on, you kind of just felt the air kind of being let out of the balloon for Croatia a little bit. It was a little bit deflating, and more so as the second half droned on. And yeah, unfortunately, it's we now look towards Croatia in third place game in Argentina in the final.
Yeah. The last time when the team lost the opening game at the World Cup, it was Spain in 2010, and after that they went on to win the World Cup. So who knows? Maybe Messi finally gets his World Cup trophy, so we can put that greatest of all time debate behind us.
It's you do realize that debate is never going to end.
Yeah, probably not.
There's no probably. It's never going to end, unfortunately.
Yeah. Chris, let's move on to tomorrow then. We have France versus Morocco. Uh, Morocco has been the Cinderella story of this World Cup. Still haven't conceded a goal. We talked about that in our video and stuff. But you know what? They do have a lot of fitness problem right now. Um, 3 or 4 of their starting players are not 100%, and without those players at their top form and whatnot, I don't think that Morocco can do much here against France.
Yeah, and I've kind of soured on Morocco a little bit over the last 24 hours. I've seen some stuff on social media of, people posting videos of this girl where she was being interviewed by like like a news outlet or something, and she's like, "Oh, Portugal, the airport's that way," and she's like talking about, "Oh, where's Ronaldo? Where's Ronaldo?" and crying Ronaldo, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe I'm gonna sound like the grumpy old man saying, "Get off my lawn," but act like you've been there before. Have a little, like, be happy to where you are. Yeah, I get it. It's a big win. But I'll tell you, Ronaldo's not going to lose any sleep over you chirping him. I'll tell you that
Oh.
much. But I think, Morocco, yeah, it's been a great run that they've been on. But now you're running up against a buzzsaw in France. And like I said, Morocco hasn't conceded from, a goal. Morocco. I'm trying to figure out how to say this, and you know the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Morocco hasn't conceded a goal from the other team. The only goal they've conceded in this tournament was an own goal, and I don't know if they're going to have that luxury as well as Bono has been playing to be able to slow down France. We've talked about Mbappe, how he's leading the turn. He's now sharing the team lead. The tournament lead in goals. And this France team has a bunch of different ways to hurt you. On top of, like you mentioned, the fatigue that's now going to be setting in from just having to play so many high stakes, high profile, and just meaningful matches in such a short time frame. I get it; it's what these guys live for, but at some point, the rubber has to meet the road with Morocco, and I think that unfortunately they're kind of going to get run over by France here.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's going to be the case, Chris. But it's not like France doesn't have their set of problems here. I read that Upamecano missed their latest practice because of some kind of sickness or whatever. I think they had a cold or flu or whatever. Uh, he came ready to play. I think that France is definitely one of those teams that can really afford giving a break to some of those players because they have a pretty stacked bench. They still have a lot of depth, and they still have enough quality to cover those two positions.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a matter of matchups here. And for me, when I looked at this matchup and the predicted and like the projected lineups for this game, I see every single edge going towards France, and that's not me just being, I'm not saying biased or just being sort of naive or anything. It's just how the optics of it, how they look. Unfortunately, it's just a level of quality I think between France and Morocco, and it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Chedira is suspended for Morocco. He got a red card against Portugal in that final moments of the game. Mazrui is doubtful, Aguret is doubtful, and Saiz is doubtful, although they will probably be in the starting lineup, let's be honest. Even if they're playing at 75 or 80% fitness, they will be in the starting lineup here. Now, 70% of probably the best team in the world is not enough to stop France. And then we're talking about Morocco here, Chris. If you have 4 or 5 of their players playing at 75, 85%. That's not nearly enough to stop this Morocco team, this French team, and to stop Giroud, who's been outstanding. Mbappe has been outstanding. Griezmann has been all over the place. And then again, when you take those 3 players away, you still have Dembele on that right-hand side that's been playing solid football, but he hasn't done anything spectacular as of yet.
No, and you usually have one or two of those players that, that sounds like it almost sounds like a movie where, they don't do anything the entire tournament, and then all of a sudden in a semifinal or potentially even a final, knock on wood if you're France, they show up and that's when they have their biggest moment. It's like they don't do anything up until the biggest game, and then all of a sudden they kind of show up out of nowhere and are the hero of the tournament. So yeah, I could see Dembele potentially having a big game if he ends up getting the opportunity. But it's like you said, Morocco needed to be at full strength to have their best shot at pulling this off. And with 5 players at less than 100%, it doesn't bode well for this Moroccan team.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be an easy game for Morocco here. Bono will have to be at his very, very best. Probably, I don't know, he will have to have the best game of his career if he wants to give a shot to Morocco here, because their defense is going to be under a lot of pressure here. I'm pretty sure that France will create more chances than Portugal and Spain did combined against Morocco. And let's be honest, when you have Mbappe, I think that Hakimi will have his hands full on that left-hand side or right-hand side. But then again, Mbappe is not the only player that France has, and I think that Morocco will. I don't know. I mean, if they are able to pull this off, Chris, they can just give them the trophy, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm not saying that they're going to just hand it to them. I'm not saying Morocco's just going to roll over and let France sort of steamroll them, but not to be overly blunt, but they may not have a choice here. I think this is a France team that's just, like I said, there's just a golfing quality between these two teams, and the Cinderella story is always nice to see, at every big tournament, but I think the clock strikes midnight on Morocco here.
Yeah, Chris, I'm just looking at the odds here, and France moneyline is minus 175, which actually gives us a nice opportunity here to take Asian handicap at -1 on France, which I think is actually a pretty solid pick, and I think it could be a nice winner here.
Yeah, I mean, you could even take them on the money line. I think if you're looking to parlay it up, or if minus 175 is in your wheelhouse, then by all means, because it did drop from when we did our video on this game. I think it was around minus 188 when we first did that. But
yeah,
minus 175. I'm not complaining. I'm still sitting at minus 188 on my book. So again, this is where we always tell everybody to do your line shopping. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to see if I can do anything. I don't have any sort of alternate lines here. In terms of a same game parlay, because I was going to do a same game parlay based on some shots on target in there as well. But
yeah,
like I said, I think I'm still going to stick with the parlay I gave out, and that was I mean, not everybody. If you want to still head over to the video to drop a like for us, it would help us out. But I'll give it out here. I liked France to qualify, and Mbappe and Giroud to each have over 0.5 shots on target. Like I said, I just think that, unfortunately for Morocco, I think they're going to be under siege from the opening kick. And I think Giroud and Mbappe are going to be a big part of the offensive attack for France, as obvious as that may sound. I think it's just, it is what it is. So that's kind of where I was at with that one. I think it's still around minus 120 for that 3-legger, but still something I definitely like for this game.
Yeah, Chris, I think you're slightly breaking up. I don't know if it's you or me, but there has been some moments here. Hopefully it's good with the live stream, but yeah, I do like France on the money line here, Chris. To be honest, we can make a bunch of same game parlays here. The line on French shots on goal is actually 7.5, and that is minus 186. Uh, no, actually 5.5. At -1.5 at +120, which I don't think it's a stretch, but I would rather take shots by France overall at over 14.5. It is a bit expensive, -1 on a pretty high line, but I think that France will create a lot of chances in this game.
Yeah, I think definitely the corner market is something that you could look at, and especially with the way that Bono's been making saves. I mean, who's to say that he won't, just tip a bunch of shots up and out of play, or be forced to make saves that just fly behind the net for a corner. So, yeah, I definitely like the over 5.5 in the corner market here.
There's also over 6.5 corners, Chris, at -106, which is also pretty good price, and the line is not that much higher. I think that France can go over 6.5 corners here. Like we said, they will have the majority of possession. They will probably play as much as they have to, but if we rely a bit on that Moroccan defense to make a few blocks and Bono to make a few saves, it's not hard to get at least 4 or 5 corners and then hope for another two in that late second half. I actually had for today's game, I had Argentina total over 3.5 corners. They went to two, and they didn't have a single corner in the second half, which was highly disappointing. But did you have any other picks in mind, Chris?
No, not for this one. I think it's just basing everything around France in the 90 minutes or France to qualify, um, along with those the shots on target. But other than that, just again, probably going to want to kick back and watch just as a fan.
Um, uh, we mentioned yesterday that Mbappe hasn't scored a goal against England. I don't even think he had a shot on target,
No,
maybe
he didn't.
one. But tomorrow, Mbappe to score is +123.
I would have to think that if anybody's going to score, it's probably going to be him,
Yeah.
him or Giroud.
Giroud is +165. Both of them have had a pretty solid World Cup so far. Mbappe has 5 goals, Giroud has 4. And yeah, I think that even if you parlay both of them at +525, it wouldn't be the first time that both of them scored a goals in this World Cup in the same game. I mean,
Yeah, and if you're looking to sort of play something just straight, I mean, you could take them for the anytime goal, or also take them for the first goal separately, and cover off two. I think, of the more likely options for your first goal scorer of the game. Uh, right now, I'm seeing Mbappe at +300 on my book, and
yeah,
+450 for Giroud. So I think definitely worth looking at in those regards.
exactly. Now, Chris, this could be one of those games where we keep saying that France will be the dominant team. They will have the possession. This could be one of those games where Morocco could get a lot of cards, and over 2.5 cards for Morocco is -106. I personally think this is a steal.
I could see it. I mean, especially if they're being forced to chase from behind. Yeah, I could definitely see it.
Uh, France line is set at over 1.5 cards at +100. Uh, I'm not sure how much would I rely on that, to be honest. Uh, we know that France has been playing pretty much only as much as they had pretty much every one of their games, and they weren't forcing it. And as good as Morocco was, I'm not sure how many chances they can create, how many get here in order for France to be forced to make those fouls and to be awarded 2 yellow cards at least in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe there was a bit of a decent price on the over 3.5 cards in the game, but I don't know. I think you're right with Morocco at the very least to have over 2.5 cards.
Yesterday, Chris, I believe that for our parlay video for this game, I had Rabiot to have at least one shot on target. It was nice plus money, over 1.5 shots for Rabiot right now for the same price, which is insane. So I hope that somebody took that yesterday. If not, I'm not sure I would take him to have over 1.5 shots in this game on target. I mean.
Yeah, no, I think 0.5 was where you needed to get it at. Now that it's up to 1.5, I think all the value's kind of gone on that one.
Yeah. Uh, Now, Chris, we know that Ziyech has been pretty much the best player for Morocco in this tournament. We have Ziyech over 0.5 shots on target plus 117. Now, I'm not sure I would take that, but I'm just trying to look up his total shots in the game. Over 1.5 shots overall at minus 112. If I assume if Morocco's gonna create anything, it's gonna be over him or and the city.
Yeah, I would take Ziyech first personally, and yeah, I would take if you're gonna do anything with Morocco, I think like Goran said, you have to back that it's gonna go through Ziyech because the that's probably just the best route, the best course of action.
Is this a game where you, Chris, to either team? It's actually plus 220 here in my book right now. Do you think that France will put so much pressure on Morocco that they will be forced make a foul inside the box or maybe even a handball or something like that?
I personally wouldn't advise it just because I don't know. I I could. It's tough because there is value there, but again, personally, I don't see it just because I think Morocco is just going to be too frazzled and trying to make something happen. But then again, could they run into the box, in a scramble and someone falls over and the referee awards a penalty? Sure, it could happen. I mean, I again, that's sort of out of my. I don't feel comfortable putting any money on that personally. I understand I'm about chasing value in spots, but that to me, I can't feel good about backing it.
Now, Chris, Argentina Croatia game, we barely mentioned over 2.5, and over 2.5 hit at plus 150. I just didn't expect it to be all from Argentina. But for this game, France Morocco over 2.5 is at plus 120. Now, we do know that Morocco still hasn't conceded a goal from their opponents, apart from that, an own goal. Uh, I assume that if the over 2.5 were to hit here, it will have.
Yeah, I would think so, but again, I'm still sticking with the under. I think personally, I don't know. I don't expect there to be a ton of scoring in this game, but again, I didn't expect there to be a ton of scoring in today's game either, and it kind of came through. So yeah, I'm probably sticking with the under 2.5.
Now, the pick that just caught my eye, Chris, is France halftime, full time. So France to win, to be ahead at halftime, and then to win, it's plus 130. I have a feeling that France put this one to bed as soon as possible because the goal, the harder it's going to be for them. And at that point, Morocco will get their wings and they will once again be confident and kind of, I don't know, just solid defensively. The longer they can keep France at bay. So France scores in the first half here and just wins the game in that 90-minute time frame, and that is at plus 130 here in my book.
Yeah, I could see that. Um, yeah, I mean, that was one of the bets I was looking at was France halftime, full time, to try to get some value out of it. But again, how many times have we seen a halftime, a draw in this tournament? But again, it's like we've
Yeah.
talked about this whole show. You know, how much quality and how much fatigue will be played into this game for Morocco here. Can they hold on? And I mean, like you said, I wasn't expecting a ton of goals in this game. We saw two in the first 45 minutes. So yeah, I could see France at halftime full time here.
Now, do you think France can score 2 goals here, Chris?
I think
Is
they
that
could.
something that you kind of realistically see after kind of witnessing those performances from Morocco throughout the tournament?
Yeah, I do because I think at some point I think the levy has to break, and I think that you can play well defensively all you want, but at the end of the day, quality wins out, and you know yes, Morocco's definitely risen to the occasion. There's no discrediting the performances they put out. There's no denying how well they played defensively in spots, but I think you could argue that Bono has stood on his head, and if it wasn't for him, Morocco wouldn't have half
Yeah.
of the results that they've had in this tournament. So I think that Morocco is only going to go so far as Bono goes, and I don't know. I think France just on another level, and the teams that Morocco's beat. I was high on Spain, but again, Spain just really didn't show up in that game, and I think France won't be able to take they won't take Morocco lightly in this game.
What was the price for that Asian handicap -1 I said at the start of the show, Chris?
Minus
Yeah,
120.
105 right now
Oh, okay.
on that -1. Now we are getting close to the end of this show, Chris. As much as we'd all love to see Morocco getting into the finals, Chris, I just honestly don't see it. I'm trying to give them, I don't know, a break here or something. Try to have a little bit of faith in them, but with the situation that their roster is in, and the fitness most of their players are in, and the players that they're missing for being suspended, I just here.
Yeah, there's just too much I think going against Morocco to feel good about. Again, kudos to Morocco for making it and doing what they've done in this tournament. 100% full marks, absolutely. But this is where the best teams shine, and I think that's what we have here with France. I think we're headed for a France-Argentina final. If we have an Argentina-Morocco final, would I be a little bit shocked? Sure. But
Yeah.
again, if they get it, then they deserve to be there.
Yeah. Now, Chris, why don't you give us your best pick for this game? What is the pick that you like the best?
Probably now that we've talked about it, probably France halftime full time. I think that's probably the way to go.
That's not a bad pick at all. It's still at +130. I believe the price hasn't changed at all. Yeah, +130. I personally will go with France -1. I just can't shake that pick, and it's getting close to even money right now. A little bit for that even money price, or maybe check some other books. I will definitely be going with France -1 for this game.
Yeah, I think if you want to throw some shot on target props in there, you heard the names that we mentioned throughout the show, but yeah, I think France. Maybe if you parlay those up, France halftime full time and France -1. I don't know if that does anything, but
yeah. Do you the correct score, Chris?
2-0.
2-0.
2-0 France.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Just because we talked about this French team, and we know that they're playing only as much as they have to. If they have 2-0 lead, I don't think they will push much more forward, because they want to spare themselves of some unnecessary suspensions. So I think that 2-0 is a pretty realistic score here.
Yeah, I would say France 1-0 for the majority of the game. Morocco gets caught on a counterattack, 2-0. France drives home the dagger.
Yeah. To me, that sounds about right, Chris. I think that's all for today's show. We got only 3 games left at the World Cup. I think that EPL starts on the 26th, right after Christmas, maybe the 27th. I'm not sure exactly. Bundesliga starts sometimes in January, and all the other leagues start also summer, late December, I think. But we'll keep you notified about that, guys. We do have a video pick for this France-Morocco game as well, so check it out. We have a parlay video as well if you want 2 nice parlays. And that's it. I will have some premium picks for this game, so check it out at the Pick Dogs Premium section. Chris will have a bunch of other picks for basketball, football, and whatnot, so check those out as well. And that's it, guys. Good luck, and we'll see you for...
Yeah, we'll see you guys for the final. Take it easy.